You do not need to bond over brokenness just to keep people close. You are allowed to evolve. Some of the beliefs holding you back aren't loud. They're not in your journal. They're not in the mirror. They're hiding in your silence, in your guilt, in the way you keep holding yourself back even when no one's stopping you. And the dangerous part, these beliefs don't even sound toxic. They sound responsible, reasonable, maybe even mature. But they're slowly draining your joy, your boundaries, and your sense of peace. So today, I'm exposing 3 beliefs that aren't just limiting you, they're quietly running your life behind the scenes. And nobody else is talking about them. This isn't just surface level advice, this is the real stuff. The stuff that hurts a little when you realize just how true it is. But even if one of these trigger you, this is your moment to name it and let it go. Belief number 1, if I'm not visibly struggling, no one will believe I need help. This belief shows up in the women who get things done, the ones who are always fine, who stay composed, clear-headed, in control. You've learned how to keep it together because falling apart in public never felt like an option. So now, even when you're running on empty, you over-explain your exhaustion. You perform your pain. You feel like if people can't see you struggling, they won't take it seriously. This is why rest feels like weakness to you. This is why asking for help feels like you're asking for a favor you haven't earned yet. But let me say this clearly. You do not need to collapse to deserve care. You do not need to visibly fall apart in front of others to ask for help. You do not need to perform stress in order to be taken seriously. You are not here to audition for compassion. You're allowed to need rest just because you're a human, not because you're burnt out enough. Stop rehearsing your struggle to be supported. That's not strength, that's survival. Belief number 2, if I soften, I'll lose control. This one is for the hyper-independent, the women who are used to planning everything, leading everyone, holding all the details in their head like a clipboard.
It's handled.
You say you want to soften, you say you want a peaceful life, but every time life gets calm, you start looking for what might go wrong. You've convinced yourself that if you loosen your grip, things will fall apart. That if you let someone else lead, they'll mess it up. That if you rest, something important will be missed. But here's the truth. You built control to protect yourself, and now it's the very thing keeping you from peace. You micromanage your environment, your relationships, your schedule, even your emotions. You don't feel safe unless you're in charge of every single outcome. But control isn't safety. It's constant labor, and eventually you'll resent how heavy it feels to hold everything together. You don't feel free because you're always bracing. Here's the shift. Softness is not weakness. Letting go is not giving up. Rest is not laziness. You were never meant to grip your life this tight just to feel protected. It's okay to exhale. It's okay to let God hold what you've been trying to carry by yourself. Belief number 3, if I change too much, I won't be relatable anymore. This one's a sneaky little thing. It doesn't show up as fear, it shows up as hesitation. You start making new decisions, you outgrow certain habits, you raise your standards, and right when it starts working, you pull back. Not because it's wrong, but because you're scared people won't see themselves in you anymore. You shrink a little, you soften your tone, you pretend you're still struggling in areas where you're actually walking in authority. You're afraid that if you evolve too much, people will say, she's changed, she switched up, she thinks she's better than us now. So you keep your wins quiet. You tone your brilliance down just enough not to lose connection. But let me tell you what this does. It teaches your spirit that elevation and growth are dangerous, that you have to trade authenticity for community, that you have to be small to be loved, and that's not true. You do not need to bond over brokenness just to keep people close. You are allowed to evolve, even if it costs your comfort, even if it costs your familiarity, even if people don't relate to your next level. You're not here to be relatable, you're here to be obedient. And sometimes obedience makes you outgrow the room you started in. So let's run it back. The 3 beliefs that are quietly holding you back. If I'm not visibly struggling, I don't deserve support. If I soften, I'll lose control. If I change too much, I'll stop being relatable. If even one of these trigger you, I want you to sit with it. Don't just nod and keep scrolling, because your freedom isn't going to come from another to-do list. It's going to come from letting go of the beliefs that trained you to stay small. This isn't about becoming a better version of who you already are. This is about becoming who you were before the fear started to kick in. So tell me in the comments, which belief are you breaking up with today? Because that decision is how everything in your life starts to shift. See you next time.